more of like good health, and we don't have to spend money on taking care of our health every time.
The aim of this day is not just to pick up trash, but to raise awareness about the danger of plastic pollution, poor waste management, and unsustainable consumption habits. According to the United Nations, about 2 billion tons of municipal waste are generated each year, much of it ending up in the ocean and landfills, threatening wildlife and human health. We also spoke to the assistant of the Eco City Vision, Opeyemi Boluwatife Afuwakwe.
So globally, it started in Estonia in 2008, where everyone has to like rush in to clean up the community in less than 5 hours. Then from there, we started locally at Nigeria, where over 60 million volunteered annually to clean up the community. And this is where Eco City Vision comes in, where everyone, both the community-based cities, the NGOs, the students, and group of people came in to clean up the community. This is what happened daily, I would say. So the plastics have affected everyone mostly, especially in my community where I've seen both rural areas and urban areas. It's like it affects us both harmful, especially for our health, where we have to like, take plastic as something that we have to reuse, recycle, and reduce. One thing I would say is we have to use the 3 R's, which is called recycle, reuse, and reduce. When you take care of these things, you know how to like level out your plastics and not to affect human health. I feel like when you are taking out your, let's say the reuse of bags, reuse of plastics and cans and nylons, it helps us to like reduce daily out footprint. When we are taking care of that and we are using it to reuse our things, it makes sure that everything is in a balanced way. My advice to people is, even if the community are not doing it, we can take up this challenge to clean up our community. It is what we do in Eco City Vision. And yeah, a lot of people have come and say, we want to volunteer for this. We have to make the community clean, even if the government are not doing anything. This is my advice to you all. You can take 2 or 3 people, clean up your community so that it will not affect our health. And this is what we have to do daily. So yeah, to prevent our health.
World Clean Up Day is more than just an event. It's a reminder that the planet is our shared home. The real task is not just cleaning once a year, but building a lasting culture of responsibility and sustainability. Victoria Ogbaki for Voice of the People TV.
It begins with every one of us. This is our environment, this is our town, this is our community. And the most important thing is that we have to get our environment clean. Health is wealth.
Hey guys, what's up? How you all doing? They call me Ovisha Nelson One, your #1 celebrity host, and you are watching Voice of the People Television, VOP. Stay tuned.
Uyi Osarite is my name. I am a friend of the microphone, Voice of the People TV. That name is unique, and the brand is very sweet. I like the packaging. Picture qualities, camera qualities, and then of course, the quality of human beings that I see sometimes on your channel. I talk and get paid, and I look forward to being in your studios.
Oh yes, you are on to Voice of the People TV, live here in Benin City, the cradle of Black civilization. What are you waiting for? Tune in, bro.
VOP TV. Now, you have more than a voice.
To know the happenings in the maritime sector, join us on the program Maritime Frontiers on VOP TV as we discuss key areas in the maritime sector, from aquaculture, maritime transportation, maritime labor regulation, oil and gas exploration, ferry and passenger insurance, marine pollution and prevention, port operations, and lots more. Maritime Frontiers, exploring Nigeria's blue economy. Do you want your voice to be heard? Do you know that you matter in the scheme of things? The People's Voice, the show where ordinary citizens take center stage as we discuss the biggest stories that affect you and I. With you in mind, we facilitate lively discussions, debates, and interviews on the topics that matter most to you and I, from social justice to economic empowerment, education to healthcare, governance, and more, tackling tough topics and amplifying your voice. Join the conversation and make your voice count. The people's voice. Make your voice count.
This is Health Check, your weekly guide to better living, smarter choices, and trusted answers. From everyday wellness to urgent health issues, we've got you covered. Health Check, only on Voice of the People Television, where your health has a voice.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Maritime Frontier Show on VOP Television. My name is Dili Utomi. Today, we are taking a look at the topic titled Affiliations to International Organizations. How does Nigeria take full advantage? But before we go into that, we have a guest here I need to introduce. His name is Kingsley Anaroke, a maritime journalist. You're welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Right. We have to take a look at a couple of things that took place in the course of the week within the maritime sector. Custom prepares officers for higher responsibilities with strategic refresher courses. The Nigerian Customs Service, NCS, has commenced a strategic refresher course for 100 deputy controllers as part of efforts to prepare a new crop of senior officers for higher leadership responsibilities and sustain ongoing reforms across the service. The workshop, organized by the Human Resources Development Department in collaboration with the Customs Police Unit, began on Tuesday, 7 July 2026 at the Nigerian Customs College, Gwagwalada. The commandant of the college, Assistant Controller General of Customs, Dao Gaura, declared the workshop open on behalf of the Comptroller General of Customs, Adewale Adeniyi. ACG Gaura described the participants as officers carefully selected for higher responsibilities within the service, saying the training was designed to prepare them to lead by example. He added that these officers are expected to serve as role models for the next generation of customs personnel. This training goes beyond professional competence. It focuses on discipline, succession, conduct, and leadership. Delivering the keynote lecture, retired Deputy Controller General of Customs, Deran Nadi, reminded the officers that promotion brings greater responsibility rather than personal privilege, stressing that the rank of Deputy Controller does not merely confer authority, it confers service. You owe responsibility to the service, your colleagues, your subordinates, the nation's leadership, and our stakeholders. Also speaking, the Deputy Commandant and Director of Studies and of the college, Comptroller Hanel Addison, charged the participants to uphold the traditions of the regimentation, discipline, professionalism, stressing that senior officers must set the standard through their conduct, appearance, and relationship with their subordinates. Earlier in his welcome address, the acting Customs Provost, Deputy Controller of Customs, Sanusi Salawa, said, the refresher course was organized to prepare deputy controllers for the greater responsibilities that come with senior leadership positions in the service. He noted that the workshop reflects the Comptroller General's commitment to continuous capacity building, adding that officers must constantly update their knowledge, strengthen their leadership skills, and uphold discipline, professionalism, and customs service of the future of the managers of the Nigerian Customs Service. Some participants commended the Comptroller General for approving the course, describing it as timely and impactful. They pledged to apply the knowledge they have acquired to strengthen, improve service, delivery, and protect the image of the Nigerian Customs Service as they assume their leadership responsibilities across the country. Kingsley, what do you think about this training? What do you think generally first?
Well, I think it's the right move in the right direction because in the last how many months there have been series of stories that over 2,000 custom officials will be leaving the service on retirement.
Yeah.
Not necessarily they're being sacked. So, and then the top has been very heavy, and now they are leaving. So there's every need for them to, bring in, train the younger ones to, take their position.
Okay.
But one other thing I think that should also be done, for those on the cadre now, the deputy controller and some other ones, they may not have too much challenge as the younger ones have now. Okay. We know today in custom that they lacks a good number of the younger generation of custom officers lack serious discipline.
Oh.
And I think beside having succession plan, as it is now, they are being prepared for that, they should also instill the culture of serious discipline in them. And then also make them eschew this mentality of settlement and mercantilism, where you find yourself in customs and the rest of it, all they talk about settlement, not necessarily services. So I think they have to improve in area of, customer relationship management. And then call it, of course, we have a platform like that for that in federal government. That's Savicom.
Yeah.
You have to work on that. And I trust the man who is on the saddle now. Maybe that could be one of the reasons the president, finds him a very...
To extend his tenure.
Yes. So I think it is opportunity now for him to also lead that legacy of trying to bring up younger ones. You can see a good number, they are being mentored. A good number of places now, you have deputy controllers as controllers, acting controllers, heading various commands. It's the right move, but that aspect of discipline, they have to instill that culture in them. Very important.
Why do you think it's so? Why do you think that culture of indiscipline is there?
Well, one is that a good number of people today, a good number of custom officers today generally, are children of this, children of that, children of that. And by that, the big men sometimes lack this hold on their children.
Okay.
And then the moment they, and then many of them didn't even work for this position they are holding today. It was like, my son wants to, I want my son here, I want my daughter here. You understand? And then when they get in, because of the kind of, parental upbringing they have in their various houses.
Or lack of it.
Yes. I mean, of course, they lack good parental upbringing. They bring it to the service. So it all depends, in fact, majorly, significantly, how they were trained. The culture in them, inculcated in them. So, and they bring it to service, and then, when anything happens, I will tell my father I will do that, and then it doesn't matter what happens, government can't do anything because my father is in charge. Okay? And then sometimes their senior find it difficult to discipline them because they are also trying to leverage some of their parents, these people's, the officers' parents in power to be able to possibly play their policies and stay, get hold of power before the younger ones come up. So that's one of the problems.
All right, but generally, it's a good way of preparing.
No, of course. No, it's a very good one. They have to be trained. For me, I see that as a serious strategic, succession plan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Moving on, NIWA board chair Shagari seeks global expertise for Nigeria's inland waterways at IMO. The chairman of the governing board of the National Inland Waterways Authority, NIWA, Mukhtar Shehu Shagari, has intensified efforts to strengthen Nigeria's inland waterways through international collaboration following a strategic meeting with the president of the World Maritime University, Professor Maximo Q. Meyer, Jr., during the ongoing IMO Council meeting. The meeting held in London focused on leveraging global expertise to support inland waterways development, maritime education, capacity building, and sustainable transportation systems in Nigeria. Speaking during the engagement, Shagari, who led NIWA Acting Managing Director Yusuf Gire to the meeting, informed that Nigeria remains committed to modernizing its inland waterways infrastructure and developing the skilled workforce needed to drive growth in the sector. He noted that the country's vast waterways network presents significant opportunities for transportation, trade, and blue economy development. According to him, strategic partnerships with international recognized maritime institutions are essential to achieving federal government's objectives of improving safety, efficiency, and economic activities on the nation's inland waterways. The NIWA board chair stressed that enhanced collaboration in research, training, and knowledge exchange will help Nigerian maritime professionals acquire the technical competencies required to address emerging industrial challenges and align with global best practices. Responding, Professor Meyer reaffirmed the World Maritime University's commitment to supporting member states through education, research, capacity development initiatives. He commended Nigeria's growing focus on maritime development and expressed the institution's readiness to deepen cooperation with relevant agencies and stakeholders in the country. The WMU president noted that long-term maritime growth can only be sustained through investment in human capital, innovation, and strict adherence to international standards. Both leaders are also explored opportunities for expanding specialized training programs, academic exchanges, and institutional partnerships aimed at strengthening Nigeria's maritime administration and inland waterways management framework. Informed maritime stakeholders described the engagement as a positive step towards connecting Nigeria's inland waterways sector with global centers of excellence and ensuring that the country's benefits from best practices in water transportation development. The meeting formed part of a series of high-level engagements at the IMO Council session, where maritime leaders are discussing policies and initiatives designed to promote safer, more secure, and environmentally sustainable shipping worldwide. Now, so you, the chair of the National Inland Waterways, Muktashir Shagari, was at the World Maritime
University.
Yeah. So, and bilateral engagements was held. How far do you think this can go in helping us to develop our inland waterways infrastructure and making use of the potentials therein?
It is an amazing initiative, very wonderful initiative. But we have a culture in Nigeria, and that culture is a very bad one, which is the culture of, being able to sustain what we have started.
Okay.
The Nigerian inland waterways, of course, the scope is very vast, but we've not been able to tap into that.
Yeah.
And that's why the last time we were talking on the radio program, we were talking about potential. Yeah. This one has its own potential too. And majorly that is where the blue economy is.
Yeah.
That's where the blue economy is. So there are different legs, rainbow opportunities in that area. So if the training here could be sustained and right training, not just paper training, okay? Because you may just go and have some training, you come back and begin to play politics. It's not about playing politics in offices. It is time to go and begin the work. We need to develop inland waterways. And then when it is developed, you discover that you may not need so much, vehicles on the land transport. A good number of things can move through the waters, inland waterways system. Then they congest the road so that the lifetime of our roads, will last longer than you have them now. So it is important. But my problem is being strategic about the training, specific needs, not just because we want to get trained. Because a good number of them, if you ask me how they were even selected for the training, it's about man, no man. I want my people to go. Not because this person has the right knowledge or skill, to be, upgraded or skilled. It's because, let me go for maritime, World Maritime University training and come back. It becomes one of the things. Usually they will call it pali. I have the pali in my pocket. That is it.
Yeah, Nigeria has, out of the 36 states, 28 states of the country have navigable waters. Why do you think we cannot explore the potentials there?
It boils down to the issue, the complaint I've always made, and what is it about? Being, intentional about our planning. We have to know what we want. It's not about seminars. You can hold 1 million seminars or conferences, but how do we, translate these ideas at the seminar level into reality? The moment we finish, recommendations are made. They take them to Ministry of Transportation or Blue Economy as it were now. The next thing is it dies on the shelves there. Somebody picks them and then keep them on the shelf. The next 10 years, nothing happens. And we keep having the same conferences all over and all over again. And then you discover that the interest behind that conference is not what to be achieved, but the money.
They are star codes.
Star codes. And that's just interest. At the end of it, nothing happens. Oh, we did this, we did this. 5 years later, we're still repeating the same thing and nothing happens. So there has to be, I keep saying, monitoring and evaluation. For every move we make, what do we want to achieve? Who is monitoring? Who is evaluating? It is important. So as 2-3 years, we know, okay, fine. Well, this is where we are now. We've achieved this, we've not achieved this. That's the problem.
So you think targets should be set from one level to the other
Of course.
the other until we'll get to the maximum of it?
Yes,
like,
not just setting targets.
Sort of a plan, a rolling plan like we used to have in those days.
Even if you have rolling plan, it's all about determination and commitment. You may have rolling plan and rolling
and the
plan.
ends in paper.
Yeah, you have a need before. You have Nigeria Economic Empowerment Development, what's it called? Under was President Olusegun Obasanjo,
Yeah.
which was, of course, piloted by then economic advisor, which is Soludo, Professor Soludo today. What happened? At the time, we had needs. We had seed at the state level. Yeah. We had leads at local government level. That was a point where Nigeria missed development. In fact, I thought that particular document would have given us revolution, the economic revolution we need in this country. Because when you start from the head, you cascade down to the local government.
Yeah.
And the local government, move to the world level to see how things are done. You now have that target, you have that determination. Everybody is being watched. Everybody is being matched alongside. You have, it becomes a level of creating competition among the states. Mm-hmm. What is the state governor doing? So then some governors were given an award on the basis of who has collected more, who has given more money to some people, not on the basis of economic development that were taking place in their states. So we missed that point. And then since then, we have really not gone back to that level of development. And then my take then was that they were actually I thought they were going to legislate that document. If they had legislated that document, what that means that if anybody misses, a particular point in time, then anybody can sue anybody on, or even impeach you. Because what we need is that have a rolling plan and say, okay, fine, we're going to do this in 20 years' time. Is in education, is in maritime. And then what that means is that whoever comes, does not matter whether Olu, whether Obi, whether Sanusi, anybody that comes there, look, this is a rolling plan. All you need to do, if, for instance, you want to put in place a building, and you know that with time, architectural designs, they fade away. It's okay, but there's a plan on a particular location that you're going to have that building there. What do you do? The building must be there. But in your time, maybe in 10 years, 50 years time, following that plan, you only change architectural design to suit,
the present needs.
But then the building will be there. We'll have that, we'll move along. The Nigeria will develop.
All right. Thank you so very much. We'll be right back in a short moment.
To know the happenings in the maritime sector, join us on the program Maritime Frontiers on Voptv as we discuss key areas in the maritime sector from aquaculture, maritime transportation, maritime labor regulation, oil and gas exploration, ferry and passenger insurance, marine pollution and prevention, port operations, and lots more. Maritime Frontiers, exploring Nigeria's blue economy.
Welcome back to the program, Maritime Frontier Show. Of course, I have with me here Mr. Kingsley Anaroke, a maritime journalist. The topic for the day today is the maritime organizations affiliations. How does Nigeria take full advantage? Mr. Anaroke, Nigeria belongs to about 5 or 6 maritime organizations. Of course, notably among them, the World Customs Organization, the IMO, that's a World Meteorological Organization, the Comité Maritime International, that one is affiliated to by the Nigerian Maritime Law Association, the Maritime Organization of West and Central Africa, MOCA, and of course the Association of African Maritime Administrations, International Coordination Center, ICC, and and all of them. How do we take advantage of our affiliations to these maritime organizations?
You don't belong to an association by chance. You belong to an association because there's need for you to belong there. But the reality in Nigeria is that we belong to associations because certain people find it very convenient to be there, possibly to be a particular, take up a particular position in that association. Because otherwise, it has happened in many places, like all the places listed now. You look at MOCA, you look at WCO. Like I keep saying, that WCO, in the 73 years of custom, this is the first time Nigerian is, chairing the council. So I've always said that it is, a case we don't bring in here when we count others. Because it's still running, and then so far we have seen what it is, because being the chair of the WCO, he chairs the policy commission. And what do? That is where they set agenda on area of revenue, area of security, okay, area of, smuggling and many other areas.
And we have CGC of customs.
We will have the CGC there with the customs man who is there.
And who says his tenure has also been...
Yes. And then because his own case is different from others because, one, he went, like I was saying, he went through mentorship program. He has served as a national PR of customs. He served many, I think about 4 or 5 CGs of customs. And all the while he was serving, he was also attending WCO meetings with them. Okay. So, and while doing that, do not forget, he also speaks French language. He speaks English, speaks French, which is very, I am not surprised if he does not also speak Portuguese. Okay. So, and this now placed him on a very good pedestal to see. He discovered opportunity while being the CG of customs. And then because a good number of people there are people he already knows, he understands the politics of the system. So he took advantage of that, and then he got in there. So he discovered the opportunity, and then rode on shoulders of Nigeria to become, and then so far he has not disappointed us because he's a man who grew through the system. But what you find in some other places is that somebody just come because there's an opportunity somewhere, they say, okay, let this man be here. Not even being prepared. So the only way I think we should be able to exploit or take advantage of those, multilateral or, regional, groupings is by deciding what we want to do. And then are we sending in the best candidate to represent us, the most qualified senders, in a setup where you have different people with different career, knowledge and all that. And then who best suits them? Not because somebody is my boy, let me send it to represent me.
Sorry, hold your thoughts there. Are you saying that the CGC, Adewale Adeni, did not become the chairman of Council World Customs Organization because of Nigeria's effort to put him there? Are you saying that it was through his personal efforts?
For you to belong to WCO in the first place, you have to ride on Nigeria as a nation.
Yeah, of course.
Nigeria is a signatory to that country. Okay? I mean, to the agreement, WCO pact. Now, he rode on Nigeria, but before riding on Nigeria, there was an opportunity.
Okay.
And who discovered the opportunity? It wasn't Nigeria. It was Wale.
Okay.
You understand? And it was easier for him because he has understood the system very well. He's been playing the politics there, understood the system. He has been able to establish relationship with a good number of them there. And then another one is that the power of language. In fact, if you have sent somebody from outside, maybe another custom person, who probably doesn't know what obtains in that place, he may not have been able to win that election. But he won because over the years, he knows when the election is going to take place, who has done this, which country has taken what, and then this is time for Africa to do this, or this time for Nigeria to come in, and he played the politics, and he did the lobbying, and it worked. So all he did was that to say, I am here because Nigeria is here, representing Nigeria, and he became. So if you have sent somebody else, the person may not have won the election. You understand? So it borders down now, it now borders on what? Qualification. Are you qualified? He's qualified. Okay? He's qualified. He understands the politics. He understands the language. The dynamics there, he understands it. So it becomes very easy. And then now we are not expecting him to play the politics as it were, so that Nigeria can also, leverage his position to better the economy, which I think is also one of the reasons government extended his tenure. Fortunately, he also got 1 year, got re-elected in the system. So I know he will not disappoint us. But if he chooses to disappoint us, well, to be unfortunate. But so far, I believe in him.
So how well do you think Nigeria is benefiting from leveraging on his chairmanship of the council?
Well, so far, if you ask me, a lot of things are still in the works.
Okay.
But I think, talking about, like I said, he chairs the policy commission. What that means is that the issue of setting standard revenue, maybe especially the issue of maybe regional trades, very key. He could leverage that position to see how ACFA, African Continental, free trade, to work well. There are other, apart from ACFA, there are other regional markets apart from ACFA, but in Africa. But there are other regional markets in some other regions. You understand? So that is the one. And then also see commitment. Don't forget that this also has some level of reputational advantage for Nigeria. So sometimes when we talk about it, it's okay, fine, Nigeria can represent us here, Nigeria can do this. So there's a way, he also being a PR person, has a way of also playing certain, I call it economic diplomacy. Okay, to Nigerian advantage. And then issue of training, technical training, maybe exchange of capacity building, send Nigerians to so country and some other places and then exchange, okay? So there are a good number of them like that. And then issue of maybe trade politics. Please, we don't do this. Notice that when Okonjo-Iweala took over as World Trade Organization DG, she lamented that the African trade ratio, intra-African trade ratio was barely 3%. Okay? And then she got so committed in bringing some sort of reform, revolution in WTO that also involved Nigeria and Africa. And then as I speak to you now, the percentage of that trade ratio is over 10%.
Right now.
And I remember on 2-3 occasions, she held meeting with customs. Of course, having been one-time Minister of Finance and the supervisory minister of the same customs. In fact, when Wale himself was also the current CG, was the national PR of customs. So meeting the minister or meeting Okonjo-Iweala is like, drinking your water every day. Okay. So it has some form of repackaging. And then so now, the trade has improved, intra. Okay? And that is why I feel that with his position there, there's going to be, they may not be so significant, but at least he's laying a foundation for some other people to come and,
Okay, move away a little bit away from World Customs Organizations. What about such regional organizations as the African Maritime Administrations? What are we leveraging on there? And of course, MOCA, the Maritime Organization of West and Central Africa.
I speak of MOCA.
We have Dr. Paul Adaliku as the Director General of MOCA.
Yes. Like I said, Adaliku himself is also a product of politics.
Okay.
He's a product of politics.
His personal politics.
I know what happened in that ministry. It's product of politics. And then lately I heard he's been trying to, he made moves on capacity building, exchange program between Nigeria and then I think citing 1 or 2 maritime institutions here and then some foreign countries, Africa also. So I think that is good. But is that all you could get from there? We're talking about the regional position where Nigeria spends so much money. In fact, I think Nigeria is a dominant financial figure in that association.
Okay.
And then Adaliku coming in there, we expected that we do not just, pay, but there should be some serious leverage for Nigerian, maritime sector and the economy generally.
Well, again, on a cautious note, the chairman of MOCA is the president of Gambia right now.
Yes.
Adaliku is just the Director General doing the day-to-day running. Secretary General doing the day-to-day running of the association. Don't you think that it may not have the kind of freedom to do things that I would ordinarily want to do?
That is what I'm talking about. If you have the capacity, now you have everything working for you. Nigeria pays more dues than any other country pays in that association.
Sure.
So that alone is a bargaining power. So if you're capable, Gambia, what is Gambia GDP compared to Nigeria? and how much do they bring to the table. So if you know what you're doing and you're capable, you may not force it on anybody, but your influence, okay, it will be seen everywhere. That look, we have to do this, we have to do this. So we'll be able to justify what you're doing. Otherwise, my president will do this. You don't rub it on their faces, but you let them understand that Nigeria being this, doing this, without us, a lot of things will go wrong. So for that reason, I understand that the Francophone country members, members, they can be very, 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 very tricky and very unreliable sometimes.
Yeah.
Not in all cases, but I know them very well.
Because the countries that are Francophone outnumber those that are Anglophone.
And then when they hold meetings for you, if you don't take time, you will miss it. So, but the point I'm making here is that if you have somebody who has a capacity to push, even as a Secretary General, what are we talking about? There's nothing you cannot push. All you need to tell them is, look, we have the power base. And then they will agree, because next time, if it is time to renew, you tell them we don't have money. And it will affect every other thing. So they should be needed. That's why I'm talking about those. Are you qualified? Are you capable of leading that group? Secretary General is a powerful position.
Okay. Now, what about the AAA, African Association of African Maritime Administration?
The one chaired by Dakuku one time. Okay. Well, for me, some of these...
because we are supposed to have the African Free Trade, Continental Free Trade Area, the agreement that tries to integrate all the trade within the African continent, which by all standards has not really taken off the way it was envisaged. Why can't we tap into it and make it work?
You see, I keep telling you that my problem with some of these groups is who is there. If you're not pushful, you can't get anything. Even your normal association where you belong, normal bit association where you belong. If you have a president who is not pushful, who does not understand what the dynamics is, he can't get anything. You have to be forward-looking. And they keep saying that what should be preparing us, not just perhaps. In fact, I am saying emphatically, we have to decide what do we want to achieve for anywhere we want to belong. Whenever we're putting in our money or bringing our people in, what do we want to achieve here? Decide what you want to achieve, set our plans. And then the moment somebody gets in there, it's not just about the person alone. Some other people should be pushing from behind. We need to achieve this, we need to achieve this, we need to achieve this. If the person forgets, they should remind him. So at the end of every year, we look at our chart or the table of needs. Have we been able to achieve ABCD? Otherwise, what do we do next? You play the politics as it were. You can convince people, your members, we need to do this. So, but we just move into these things and then we say we have an MOU, we spend money, at the end of the day you come out, we all go there to drink tea and the rest of them. And you know there's something that's covered in Africa, especially these Francophone countries. When you have Anglophone and then Francophone countries coming together, they drink tea, conferences. They can speak conference English, and then in fact, they can hold more than 100 conferences in a year. Go to that country, nothing happens. Nothing happens. Check. They hold this bilateral, this. At the end of the day, nothing happens. It's all grammar. What happens at the border stations? Still, they talk about seamless movement of goods within the ECOWAS region. Has it happened? ECOWAS has been there since. We've been blowing grammar about ECOWAS.
The ETLS.
We even came up with ETLS at a point. What has happened to it? It's supposed to be a free trade agreement. What has happened? Have we leveraged that to improve our own economy? Like I said last time, while other countries, companies are closing down here, are closing their shops here. They are moving to Ghana and some other African countries. And here, and what is it here? Because the operating environment here is very hostile. Okay? Now, at the end of the day, you're losing them to these other countries. So then why are we...
And the goods are still coming back to Nigeria.
They still come back to Nigeria under ETLS. They still come back. So why not we work on this? If we know we belong in a place, say, okay, let's give some, fiscal policy reliefs on certain things. But you see, there was a time customs said they were trying to introduce what is that? Is it excise duty? Okay, I remember holding a particular program in my office then. where I brought in manufacturers, customs, in fact, stakeholders, generally into my office, and we're discussing the same thing. A lot of them kicked against it. That if it's going to be not at the percentage at which it was being proposed. They went to National Assembly after meeting my office. It was a breakfast meeting where Manufacturer Association of Nigeria, NASIMA, a good number, a whole lot were there. Okay? So, we're talking about exports. You're talking about exports. And you're introducing excise duty that is killing. How do you do that? Is it not contradictory? These are contradictory policies.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. So we do not get our priorities right. We don't get our needs right. We need to come back and begin to define what we want to achieve in these associations.
Okay, is it that the legal framework for some of these things are not properly couched? We also belong to the Committee Maritime International, of course, which is Nigeria is affiliated to Nigeria Maritime Law Association is affiliated to it. They sort of, make laws that govern the maritime sector. Is it that we do not have strong maritime legal framework for us to be able to operate some of these things and, domesticate some of the, the laws, the international laws, in order to be able to, operate? What is the problem?
The ones you domesticated, how operational are they? How effective are they? It's not about having, it's just like somebody telling me today, and that's why I keep saying that for those of them who are National Assembly, who keep telling us who want to measure their performance in governance, in leadership, on the basis of number of, laws made, they're wasting their time. Because we have too many laws in this country that are not operational. You churn them out and they keep them somewhere. They're the makers. The legislators themselves are the ones who break the law most. So you have them. We have these legal lawyers there. So what some of them do there is they take advantage of that same platform to go and, of course, prepare these instruments for nations and the rest of them, make their money. And then they sit back. They end up speaking the grammar and the rest of them. There are many of them, many legal instruments, whether at regional level or at the national level, But how much of them do we practice? How much of them do we bring in to help operations? We're talking about regional now, not international. I would have just given you an example of some international laws that have been domesticated in this very country. Even some that are, you domesticate one and the other one, they say this one needs to be domesticated, and you cannot domesticate this one before this one, or they cannot work simultaneously, and the rest of them. But at the end of the day, when you have these legal issues, the same lawyers also go to court to defend their clients, who may have also flouted or defaulted one way or the other to make their money. And what do they tell you? That in a legal business, the maritime industry is about business, not essentially litigation. In other words, you can negotiate your way out instead of course, they tell you have your ADR there, alternative dispute resolution and the rest of them. Before you move into the main thing, the ADR sits down and discuss how do you settle this matter and the rest of them. Oh, do you know you're going to lose this? They tell you the disadvantage of going into full-time litigation and then doing ADR is going to save you this, it's going to save you that. Why that is that does not stop the lawyer from taking his money, his charges. You're paying him full money for, of course, it's in that case. Okay? But at the end of the day, it is settled. Now, at the end of the day, who suffers? The operating environment suffers. They make the law. They defend those who default.
Going back to the World Customs Organization, where the CG of Custom is the chairman of council. I know he has helped to bring about a number of bilateral agreements with several countries, which has also yielded fruits in terms of the anti-smuggling activities, impoundment of illegitimate items such as drugs, illegal medicaments, and the rest of it. What more do you think he can do for us to achieve more? Because these days, it seems that a lot of traders want to bring in illegitimate items into the country. Virtually every other day, we hear about seizures here, seizures there, across the border, across the ports, the seaports, and everywhere.
Can I tell you something about the issue of illegal importation? It's about shared intelligence.
Okay.
If you ask me, his position in WCO, to me, does not in any way have may not have serious corresponding, corresponding significant effect on that, because it's about intelligence. Okay. Maybe we could leverage that to possibly, have some form of MOU, some form of memorandum of understanding with some nations that we've not had anything to do with, maybe. But I'm telling you that these things are based on intelligence. If you have people up there, I have been to China, I have been to Korea, from the port of origin, okay? If you have people there whom you work with, call them maybe Interpol, call them whatever I want to call them. It could be your personal Interpol, it could be anybody, okay? Oh, the moment this thing is moving, there's a movement in a particular direction, okay? They find out what this consignment is all about. And the next thing is they give information, so consignment is coming down. I have also been privileged to know certain warehouses, certain terminals in China where people conceal goods coming to Nigeria.
Okay.
These are illegal, consignments. And the officials, whether custom or some other people, know that these things are contraband. But because the guys there have come down here to do one or two negotiations. And when these things are, of course, containerized or packaged, they have a special, recognizable mark that distinguishes them from some other, containers. And as they come here, they fly. Nobody stops them. So it starts from this intelligence. So the intelligence, if you get your intelligence right there, they tell you. So I think that the position of WCO that is chairing now, we may leverage that to go into MOU with a good number of other countries and a good number of other, perhaps, intelligence agencies that will help to see how to move. Otherwise, it is more of intelligence. And then, like I've always said, that these things, you don't know it all. Everybody has interest somewhere. I once told you that when you're talking about revenue, I told you that the factor that drives revenue is negotiation. Okay. And then that is why sometimes trade facilitation has deeper meaning than a good number of people understand it. For me, it's a concept that has a lot of definitions and meanings. Trade facilitation, you know what it means? If I have to seize a particular container, I know if I have to seize it, I look at the advantage. Oh, this man, if I seize this, he may, at the end of the day, this man, humanizing it, bring human element to it. This man may die, okay, how do you salvage this? Rather than do this, why not ask this man to pay a certain amount of money to government coffers? And he pays. Negotiation. At that point, that's why you have the DN, the raise DN. This is it, you raise DN, and then by raising DN, what that means, DN, the moment the human element comes into it, DN means that you pay government a certain amount of money and the customer you settle him for helping you to solve the problem. That is trade facilitation.
One area of trade facilitation.
You understand? Of course, we now have authorized economic operators and
yeah.
That is another level of trade facilitation.
Okay.
Okay? So there are different elements.
But the AEO is for...
It's an official one.
Yes.
It's an official...
And it's for those who have been consistently compliant.
Those who have been consistently, reliable, and then people who have adopted integrity in their mode of business, operation. So that is it. What I'm telling you, these other ones. So there are things, sometimes you see on the clips, video clips, maybe at various border posts, where some junior custom officers, junior custom men, personnel, you know, try to unwrap or naked some women alleged to have tied rice on their waist and the rest of them. You see, a CAC wouldn't want to do that. Because that woman there, that particular rice, you know, we see that as a mere, what's it called? How many cups of rice is that she tied on her waist? That somebody will go and say she's smuggling rice. Is that smuggling? The woman is begging for survival.
And besides, I think the law permits you bringing in at least a bag of
Thank
rice,
you very
which
much.
you can use to...
So there are things CAC will not look at. When they look at say, take this. For those of them who understand what they are doing, it's also applicable to... Are you aware that there's even in NDLE, there's a permissible amount of cocaine you can have today. You're allowed to carry a particular quantity.
And because of... It's also used for medical...
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So, but when they say, oh, police will tell you, you did cocaine, this one, you know, they make trouble and they stop money from people.
Okay. Now, actually, when I was talking about bilateral agreements, I know that there are some countries where there are certain threshold of drugs that are permissible, which is higher than that which is permissible in our country, Nigeria. Well, let's say Canada, for example, where cannabis indica, their own processed cannabis has a larger threshold of the ingredient, the potent ingredient in it than what is permissible in Nigeria. What I'm talking while I'm talking about bilateral agreement, is there no way of telling them, okay, these things are not permitted in our country? Why don't you tell us all the time, each time they want to export it into our country from your own end? And it makes it easier for us. We know that you guys want to sell your goods there, but over here, the threshold is lower than yours. Okay. Why can't we go that way? Okay. For every other country.
Let me start with this. Are you aware that there are professionals in this country who are allowed to use cocaine for production?
Who are
allowed by law to use cocaine for production?
Of course not.
Many of the drugs you use here, you have cocaine, you know, used for them.
Painkillers.
But the pharmacist and the rest of them.
Yeah.
You okay?
Sure.
So the pharmacist now brings in, you know, that quantity. That's why they bring in that quantity and then want to sell out of it. What happens?
It becomes illegal.
Of course, it is legal because he is licensed to do that. But when he now sells it out, are you there to know when who is being sold to or who has sold it to? These are some of the challenges there. So I think the law itself.
No, but the quantities that are brought in also, there are certain level of dilution in it, as in before he can bring it in. It cannot be the real concentrated thing. There's a way the law works with that.
Now the thing is this. The society you have today is money driven.
Okay. Money driven.
Yes. Whatever thing you think it is illegal today, many guys in high places do them, but they use people to work for them. That's why you can't stop a lot of things. You talk about the same drug you're talking about. There are people in high places who are involved. They use boys to run around for them. You talk about money laundering, we're talking about, in fact, virtually all politicians are involved. You talk about the bunkering, the way the bunkering we talk about, you know, illegal bunkering we talk about. You know, bunkering, the real sense of it is about feeding vessel and the rest of them. But when you talk about illegality in the oil and gas, they call it bunkering. Navy and Minapol are involved. They should challenge me, I will tell them how. Okay? So because of that, there are things you cannot possibly talk about eradicating. You can only talk about how do we reduce, you know, the percentage of its operation, but not eradicating them. It's like somebody telling you he's going to eradicate poverty. How do you eradicate poverty? Who has eradicated poverty before? You can't eradicate poverty. You can't. We just blew all this grammar without really understanding what they mean. So that is why your own concept or idea of trying to give them this, only you give them in paper, just like you make your law. But operationality determines what happens, not your law. Because the same people who make the law break it. That's what the problem is. Not just about the commoners. They say, come on. No, the big men themselves are the one, but they break it. And some can, when they break that law, just main phone call, it ends everything.
Yeah. Now, which is the way forward? We are talking about Nigeria leveraging on her affiliations to international maritime organizations. What is the way forward?
I have told you time and time again that the way forward is we deciding what we want to do. We have this position before us. Okay, we are going for perhaps for instance, the last election we had at the maritime industry, that was the Category C election in the IMO.
IMO, yeah.
Okay.
Which are now parts of...
Yes. We are still waiting to see the result. Don't forget, you don't have any ship. Okay? And the category where you belong, you know what that means. You have now you have an identity now as a Category C member. But are you able to do what other nations in the same Category C are doing? They are leveraging what they have, the capacity they have, human resources and then asset and otherwise to do what they are doing. We are still dwelling in the euphoria of having won election. Okay? And having won election, now we have won this election for people who will go there to take, to collect ESTA code. We have not defined, now we know the value proposition, but how are we able to get this value proposition crystallized? That is the issue. So we need to understand what we are going for, be able to say ABCD is what we want to achieve. 1 year, 2 years, 3, 4 years. The last time we were talking about theory of change, where you have activity, impact, outcome, and the rest of them. We decide, over 1 year, we have done this. We have achieved this for our nation in the course of this, for being there. Then you have your KPIs you can also deal with. We call it key performance indicators. You understand? And then you also have the other level, which is monitoring and evaluation. We need to put these things and say, this is it. So we have this thing we're going for now. This is, gentlemen, we are going for this. We want to be able to achieve this in 4 years' time. But the first year, this is what we want. Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. We do have that. Nobody monitors you. The moment you get in there, whatever you get, you come and then tell some people, it is our time to eat. And some get in there not prepared because somebody wants them there to represent their interest, not because they are qualified. They are representing a particular interest, not the nation. So we have to decide what we want to do anytime we are going for a particular post, or even belonging to any association. What do we want to achieve here? And then we'll be meticulous about it, be intentional about it. And then at the end of the day, we ask ourselves, have we been able to achieve this? Okay, have we actually evaluated a membership of these associations over time?
That's what, even the next question.
Have we actually started to evaluate any of them? To say, we've been this member of this group for 20 years now. What have we really achieved? How many Nigerians have been empowered? Or how has the economy fared over time for those that have direct bearing on the economy? Okay? What is reputation like? If you have to quantify reputation, of course, it can be quantified. Have we achieved this? Have we done that? No. All you know is somebody is there, my brother is there, let's go there, let's do this, and then somebody represent me. That is it. It shouldn't be the case. It shouldn't be. Until we begin to do that, we just end up, we keep flowing because we want to achieve something. And we really don't achieve anything. We just occupy this space. We become matter. You know what matter means?
Of course now. Occupy space.
We just occupy space and leave the space. So that's my take on that.
Okay, now, that's on the government side. What does the average Nigerian person who's interested in working in the maritime sector and needs both the legal background, the legal backing, the knowledge, and of course the international connection needs to do in order to be able to also engage himself in some of these things and then take advantage of the resources that the country provides?
Okay, getting into the maritime industry is like getting into another profession. First of all, you also know that when you talk about personal brand, you know about personal branding.
Yeah, sure.
You have to ask yourself, what do I want to become? What career line am I taking? If you have chosen maritime industry, have you done necessary checks on that? Do you have a mentor? Have you read up people's, biographies or profiles on who they are? Have you identified anybody you think, if you want to go into clearing, for instance, who are your role models in clearing? If you want to go into maybe seafaring, who are your role models in seafaring? If you want to go into maybe port administration, who are your role models in those areas? What are their impacts? Their impact at a professional level, their impact at family level, their impact at various levels. So that helps you. And then, like you know, these days, our exposure to educational opportunities are no longer the same thing with what we had in our time. Those when we were in university and secondary school. This generation now have more, are exposed to a lot of opportunities, digitally and otherwise. Okay? So now you have to begin to do what? What are the right knowledge or what are the right courses am I supposed to? That's why where my own, for instance, my own NGO, okay, MMS Women of Fortune Hall of Fame comes in, mentoring younger generation of, maritime professionals. Whether you're a woman, majorly women, but we concentrate on women more because it's a woman-led thing. So we do more 60, 70 women and others. We've taught a good number of people on how to do clearing, how to be a stevedore and other things. Now, it now comes down to issue of upscaling yourself. Today, you don't just go to school to read alone. There are certain certificate programs you can take online. You pay little by little, get certified there, the knowledge you gain online. You begin to see how to put them into practice. And then knowledge you have, you practice these things. You get certified in many areas. And then you keep taking this, and then you think you're not useful. They are not useful to you. But by the time you go for one interview or the other, opportunity provided, because you have to prepare before opportunity comes. So gradually you move. And then if you possibly get exposed to attending conferences or seminars, if anybody helps you on any of them, it's an opportunity for you to meet someone and say, "Oga, I like your presentation. Please, I would like to have your number. I would like to be your mentee." Or so. Mentorship is not sometimes even a two-way thing. You could pick somebody as a mentee. You discover that there are certain areas you do not know. Maybe in area of maybe IT, the person may be IT savvy. You are not IT savvy. It becomes a reverse mentorship. Reverse mentorship. You understand?
Yeah.
As the mentee learns from you,
you learn from him.
You also learn from him or her from these other areas. So mentorship is very key.
Okay. All right. Thank you so very much, Mr. Kingsley Anaroke. It's been wonderful having you on the program today on the Maritime Frontier Show.
Thank you very much.
Of course, ladies and gentlemen, we are short of time, we ran out of time, and we would like you to join us again next week for another edition of the Maritime Frontier Show on VOP Television. My name is Dele Utomi. Have yourself a wonderful week ahead.
Right.
To know the happenings in the maritime sector, join us on the program Maritime Frontiers on Voptv as we discuss key areas in the maritime sector from aquaculture, maritime transportation, maritime labor regulation, oil and gas exploration, ferry and passenger insurance, marine pollution and prevention, port operations, and lots more. Maritime Frontiers, exploring Nigeria's blue economy.
We encourage you to click on the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Voice of the People TV. Also follow us on all our social media platforms. We are at VOPTV Live. Visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Also watch us live on SLTV channel 264. VOPTV, Voice of the People Television.
In a world where truth is the ultimate power and opinions scream the loudest, it's time to wade through the noise.
Hunger no get tribe! Hunger no get religion!
and scan the human interest and trending topics that matter. Stay tuned to The Issues, your plug to the stories making the buzz, from politics to science and technology, social justice, and more. Let's tackle the tough questions and expose the truth. The Issues on Voice of the People Television, Mondays to Fridays, 8 to 9 p.m. The Issues. Don't just react, understand. Join us as we drive into the world of politics through insightful interviews with prominent political figures, both serving and former governors, ministers, senators, legislators, party chieftains, activists, and analysts. Get first-hand information into the decision-making processes that affect our daily lives. Highly engaging one-hour program that brings political discourse into focus.
I am Chukwuma Okoro.
Political Lens, Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. Join us.
Voptv. Now you have more than a voice.
Comes together in harmony. This is Gospel Fusion. This is Gospel Fusion. From the streets to the steeple, from the young to the wise. With will every nation, with a sound that never dies. Hop together, never dies. Heartbeat of revival. Let the Spirit lead the way. Every reverend, every language, praising God in every way. This is Gospel Fusion.
Oh yes, it's a beautiful Sunday afternoon and we bid you welcome to your Feel Good Sunday program, popularly called Gospel Fusion Live. And I bid you welcome wherever you're watching us from, anywhere in the world. My name has not changed. David E is my name, and I'm excited to be here today. Okay, now the reason why I'm excited to be here is because I know for a fact that you are out there and you are also enjoying every single bit of what we do on the show. Well, just in case you don't know, it's a magazine program with different segments in it. We're kicking it off with the gospel music root segment. And that, again, is that segment where we give you a very short documentary and, of course, tell you how much gospel music has evolved over time and how it has changed the trajectory of races, people, and, of course, culture. And like I always would say, the Bible did say that until the gospel is preached to the ends of the world, of course, that is when the Savior returns. So today, we'll definitely be giving you a slice of the fact that the gospel itself is being preached in some parts of the world. And of course, that is as a result of that particular documentary that we'll be bringing to you. Also, yes, after that particular segment, we'll go straight to top 5 gospel song of the week segments. And that, of course, is a segment where we carefully give you the very best of gospel music artists and their songs as released recently. And of course, the ones that are making all of the wave right about now. And of course, after the segment, we go straight into another segment. And that, of course, is the behind the music segment. But sometimes we switch it to the conversational segment where we talk about something very important and critical to you and I at a time like this. But without wasting further time, let me also let you know that you can take us with you anywhere in the world. And how do you do that? Just go straight to Google and type www.vop.ng, and definitely you'll be taking us with you anywhere in the world. Without wasting further time, let's jump right into the first segment of the show, shall we? And that is the gospel music root segment. Today, our country in focus is Malawi, a country beautiful in culture, a country beautiful by people, and a country beautiful by landscape. But you want to find out how much gospel music has evolved over time in that country, you definitely will be seeing that in this very short documentary. So don't go nowhere. Enjoy this very short one. When we return, you know what's next. Please stay with us.
The evolution of gospel music in Malawi has been significantly influenced by historical events, particularly the arrival of Christian missionaries in the late 19th century and the interaction between Christianity and indigenous spiritual traditions. Over the decades, gospel music has transformed from traditional ritual expressions and communal singing practices to include contemporary influences such as modern instrumentation, recording technology, and global gospel styles. This transformation has created a rich musical balance that resonates across generations and social groups in Malawian society. Traditional gospel music genres in Malawi. Vimbuza-influenced gospel. Vimbuza originated among the Tambuka people as a spiritual healing dance used to address emotional and psychological distress through music, rhythm, and communal participation. It predates Christianity and was deeply rooted in indigenous belief systems that emphasized spiritual balance and collective well-being. With the spread of Christianity, particularly through missionary activities, some musical elements of Vimbuza, such as rhythmic drumming, trance-like repetition, and call and response singing, were adapted into Christian prayer meetings, revival movements, and Pentecostal worship settings. Over time, these influences became embedded in Malawian gospel performance styles. Vimbuza-influenced gospel has served as a bridge between traditional spirituality and Christian worship, helping communities retain cultural identity while embracing new religious practices. Its expressive and participatory nature continues to shape worship experiences across rural and urban churches. Gyul Wamkulu-inspired gospel performance. Gyul Wamkulu, associated with the Chua people and the Nyau secret society, is a ceremonial masked dance tradition used for moral instruction, social commentary, and, historically, performances conveyed cultural teachings and community values during important ceremonies. In traditional masked dances, the dramatic storytelling elements, choreography, and symbolic expression gradually influenced Christian church drama, gospel stage performances, and festival presentations. Churches began incorporating culturally familiar performance elements into religious storytelling. Gyul Wamkulu-inspired gospel expressions have contributed to the development of theatrical worship forms in Malawi, enhancing audience engagement and reinforcing moral teachings. It has also helped preserve cultural heritage within Christian contexts, fostering cultural continuity across generations. Malapenga-style choral gospel. Malapenga emerged in the early 20th century among northern Malawian communities, influenced by military parade traditions observed during the colonial era. The genre features organized group singing, coordinated movements, uniforms, and rhythmic instrumentation. As Christianity expanded, churches adopted Malapenga-style organization into choir structures, youth brigades, and church processions. Choir formations, disciplined harmonies, and synchronized performance styles became hallmarks of Malawian gospel choral presentations. Malapenga-inspired gospel strengthened community participation, particularly among youth, while promoting unity and collective identity within church settings. Its influence remains visible in contemporary gospel choirs and church celebrations throughout Malawi. Indigenous choral and hymn traditions. Before missionary contact, Malawian communities practiced rich vocal traditions during ceremonies such as harvest festivals, initiation rites, and communal gatherings. These traditions emphasized harmony, rhythm, and communal storytelling. Missionaries introduced Western hymns and choral arrangements, which local communities translated into indigenous languages and adapted with African rhythms, dance movements, and vocal techniques. This fusion produced a uniquely Malawian gospel sound that blends Western harmony with African musical sensibilities. Indigenous choral and hymn traditions have played a central role in the spiritual life of Malawian Christians, promoting literacy through hymn books, encouraging cultural pride, and uniting diverse ethnic groups through shared worship practices. They continue to influence contemporary gospel artists and church music ministries. Throughout Malawi's history, these genres have influenced multiple generations, shaping modern gospel expressions while preserving cultural heritage. Older generations often connect with traditional rhythms and languages, while younger audiences engage with contemporary adaptations that incorporate modern instruments and global music styles. The fusion of indigenous traditions with Christian themes has strengthened community identity, promoted moral values, and fostered intercultural understanding within Malawian society. Conclusion. The traditional gospel music genres of Malawi, Vimbuza-influenced gospel, Gyul Wamkulu-inspired performance, Malapenga-style choral gospel, and indigenous choral/hymn traditions, are deeply embedded in the nation's cultural and spiritual landscape. Their historical development reflects a dynamic interaction between indigenous heritage and Christian influence, resulting in enduring societal impacts that continue to resonate across generations.
All right, then there you have it. I mean, so much to talk about here because I clearly have said it that if you do not know that sometimes these particular genre of music and this documentary, what this documentary does for a lot of us is that we only uncover that there are so much to carefully tell ourselves about the beauty of what gospel music has become over time, and of course in some other countries. Well, there you have it. I mean, we're giving you that particular documentary in Malawi, talking about the gospel music roots in Malawi and how much it has really evolved and changed a lot of persons and of course culture in Malawi. But without wasting further time, let's jump right into the next segment of the show. And that is the top 5 gospel songs of the week. Now, this is where we tell you how much gospel music has really gained momentum across Nigeria and, of course, across Africa. And yes, our top 5 is strictly scrutinized by a lot of our individuals who put in so much work in making sure that we give you the best when it comes to the top 5. But in case you have 1 or 2 songs of your choice that is not in our top 5, it's very simple. Send us your own top 5 and send it to our messaging portal on all of our social media platforms. On YouTube, we are at Voice of the People Television, and on all other social media platforms, we are at Voptv Live. So go to the comment section and send us your top 5 gospel songs of the week. Now, when you're doing that, make sure you have it with the hashtag Gospel Fusion Live, hashtag top 5 gospel songs of the week. And definitely that, of course, will separate your message from the tons of messages that we receive on our platform. And we will see that, yes, you're actually sending us that message. So we don't know. Your top 5 might be the very top 5 that we'll be making our top 5 for next week. All right, then let's jump right into it. This top 5 is the one that started last week, Sunday, and ended just yesterday, because the week ended yesterday. And of course, that is how much we collate the top 5. But without wasting further time, let's give you the top 5 gospel songs of the week. And of course, you want to enjoy that. We'll be right back.
Gospel Fusion Live, Top 5 Gospel Song of the Week.
Number 5.
Arise, O Lord, let your light shine in every darkness.
Number 4. Number 3.
This is the house of the Lord. I am his temple, I am his dwelling, I am the house of the Lord.
Number 2.
We say Shidigiga Oromi Nishe Fayachimi Jesu Mbamilo.
Gospel Fusion Live. Gospel Fusion Live. Top 5 Gospel Song of the Week.
Number 5.
Arise, O Lord, let your light shine in every darkness.
Number 4. Number 3.
This is the house of the Lord. I am his temple. I am his dwelling. I am the house of the Lord.
Number 2.
We Shidigiga Oromi Nishe Fayachimi Jesu Mbamilo.
Gospel Fusion Live.
All right, and there you have it. I mean, it's just what it is, because when you see some of the top 5 songs, you only would tell yourself, sometimes we need to consistently let you know that so much is put into this. I mean, beautiful song there by amazing gospel music ministers. You did see Elevation Worship there, Chandler Moore with Hallelujah. You also did see Vicky with, I forgot the title of that song again. But Sumi Sola, baby, amazing song, got a #1 song of the week. And Teofila Sunday, yes, was also in the top 5. I mean, beautiful, beautiful songs, I must say. But again, one thing that comes to mind is the fact that it is beautiful to note that these amazing gospel music ministers do so much for themselves. And they carefully also give the best when it comes to beautiful songs. All right, without wasting further time, let's switch up the conversation. Now, we'll be talking about something right now. But before we get into that conversation, there is what we call the switch up segment that we do on the show. And that, of course, is switching it up to giving you exciting and some beautiful moments on TV. And today is not going to be an exception. So without wasting further time, let's give you our switch up moment. And you guess what the switch up moment is for today? You'll be finding out in the jiffy. Let's give you that switch up moment. We'll be right back.
Oh, you might say we the old India. All of us will be Indians. My name will be Raj. And they also put your hands for Kenny Black Rat. I will just come and say, everybody come down. We come to Benito Doba, Nikedeba, 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 that. I say, what about to pay is sir. That people like Messi Chingu, where they sing Igbo song. How they want to sing if they be India? India get genre of music where they call indie. Then Igbo get genre of music that they call Aria Aria. If we can't be India Igbo, if we can't be Aria Arindi. Or Indi Aria. So we try waiting Igbo Indian song go sound like more try. All in favor say hi. The eye service, DJ play. Chukune mekar, agune chembar. Chukune mekar, onye na koreal. You are Yahweh. You are Yahweh. Hey baby. You are Yahweh. You are Yahweh. Alpha, Omega. Now it's time to give him praise. Jesus, Iber. Onye keruwa ne kweperem na la Chineke. Good night. Onye keruwa.
Oh, well. There you have it. And one interesting part of that conversation is the fact that Kenny Black is a very unbelievable person. He's taking music comedy to another level, and I definitely appreciate the gift of my friend and brother Kenny Black. And yes, definitely, sometime soon we'll be having this amazing talent right here in the studio on the show, and that is a promise that we keep. I can assure you, we promise and we keep them. All right, then, without wasting further time, yes, we've just given you the switch up segments moment. Well, again, that was indeed a beautiful time out, I must say. But let's talk about something, and it's critical that we should do something important. It's the second half of 2026, and we need to, at all times, do what I call some assessment program. And that's what we'll be talking about, strategic planning today as individuals and as God's people. Now, one thing that is certain amongst individuals is the fact that sometimes a lot of us try to plan. And when we plan, we most of the time do not even anchor our plans on the one who holds tomorrow and what tomorrow holds, right? Because we don't even know what tomorrow holds. But the most important part of this conversation is that we should consistently hold the one who holds tomorrow, and that's our maker. And most importantly as well, anchor all of our plannings on that particular person, and that is God himself. Now, today, I want us to talk about, strategic planning and the critical questions that we should be asking ourselves. Now, the first question when it comes to strategic planning is, where are you now? I mean, this is more like the point where we do the current reality assessment, and that's what some people in the HR business calls the CRA, right? If you have that model, that's a current reality assessment time, you will ask yourself this question, where is my business? Or where is my position in my profession that I am doing right now? How are you doing with your relationship, even in marriage? I mean, this is about time you give yourself that reality check. And trust me when I say this, when you give yourself that reality check, so much comes to mind because it will help you plan even further. And I dare say this, that when you ask yourself where you are now in business, in your profession, in your relationship, in marriage, it will help you also identify truly how much progress you've made thus far. Like I said at the beginning of this conversation, we are in the second half of 2026. And it's important that we have these critical questions asked by us and to us. Another question you want to ask yourself is, how did I get to where I am presently? Now, if you're doing business wrongly or you're doing it rightly, one thing comes to mind, you would see results. Whether or not you're doing it rightly or wrongly, you would see results. But the most important, critical question that we need to ask ourselves is, how did I get to where I am presently? Now, for the people who, did have a wrong decision, you will identify that you have made a wrong decision, whether in business or career or in relationship or in marriage, as it were. Because when you ask yourself that question, how did I get to where I am now? It would also help you to identify what assumptions you've made before you made that decision. So one thing that a lot of people do, and I dare say Christians alike, is the fact that we assume a lot. And like I tell people who are around me, assumption is the lowest level of learning. When you assume a thing and you do not have facts on that matter and you stick to your assumption, most of the time you're wrong. But when you're wrong, what do you do when you're wrong? These are questions we need to ask ourselves. So in wanting to find growth, in wanting to find progress, in wanting to find stability with what we do, we need to, again, like I said earlier, ask ourselves these critical questions. So these critical questions are, what I've started with in the course of this conversation, which is the first one is, where are you now? And the second one is, how did you get to where you are presently? So whether or not you're doing good in business, or you're doing bad in business, or you're doing good at your profession, or you're doing bad at your profession, these questions we need to ask. It is important. And I dare say this, right? Sometimes when we ask ourselves these questions, again, it would help us find a way out. Right. Now, the third question that we need to ask ourselves really when we are having this kind of conversation is, what business are you in presently? Now, when you ask yourself this, it is important to also identify that in the present day economy, a 9-to-5er, for some of us who are professionals doing 9 to 5, it's not just enough. Now, I say this all the time, and the most interesting part of this, when I say this, is that I use examples like people that we see around us. And I'm going to use the Africa's richest man as an example, Aliko Dangote. Now, this was a man who was into several product manufacturing. He was into cement, he was into flour, he was into several things. Now, guess what? He did not stop there. He went as far as having the biggest refinery in the entire Africa, and I dare say one of the biggest refinery in the world. Now, that is a man who have asked himself question, what business am I in? Now, if he was a 9-to-5er, and he sticks to his 9 to 5, would he have make such strides in his life? The answer is no. So here, another question you need to ask yourself. Very, very critical question while you're strategically planning is, what business am I in? And then when you ask yourself that, questions, if you're in business already, you then also ask yourself, how much of an articulation do I have in this business? You need to articulate your business. Are you just hustling? Sometimes we need to ask ourselves this. Define your endeavor. It is important. And the reason why I say it's important is because we need to do better. First off, as Christians, because the Bible did say that we are the light of the world. Okay, now if you're the light of the world and you are consistently borrowing from someone who is not even a Christian, then there is a problem. Now, that is even on the part of you being a Christian. Let's even talk as a human being. Do you need to have to go borrowing all the time? The answer is no. So as a business person, and if you're not a business person, if you're a 9-to-5er, it is very important right now that you start thinking of what business you are going to start doing. Now, what I say when you want to go into any business is that you need to carefully, and I say this without fear, you need to carefully do your due diligence, because there are a lot of fraudulent people out there. Now, I'm not saying this to scare you in any way. No, I'm only saying this so that you understand that truly you need to start doing much more for yourself. So when you do your due diligence, it will help you know where and how to place your funds. And it is very important that you do your due diligence. Most importantly as well, for business people out there that are watching right now, ask yourself that question again, a critical question. Am I just hustling? Or am I truly making profit in this business? So you see, this is a conversation that we should be having. Someone told me a couple of days ago, some of the things that we say here on air, you rarely hear it in church. What you hear in church is, God will do this for you, God will do that for you. And they don't talk about, how do we plug into a particular business and do more with our funding? Now, God will only give you the wisdom to do more when you move. I use this analogy most of the time, and I say this to people. When God was talking to Moses, he asked him clearly, What do you have in your hands? Now, I interpret that to mean that you must have something that God will bless. I mean, the Bible even say it, that I will bless the works of your hands. So what is he going to bless if you have nothing in your hands? Is it your 9 to 5? Come on now. Your 9 to 5 might be paying you really well. Don't get me wrong. It might be paying you really well. But it's very important that you start earning from that thing that you call your passion. I know some people are very passionate when it comes to figures. I mean, that's why they want to work in the bank. They're very passionate. And it's not a problem at all. A career person always wants to progress. And this is important because some of the times when we encounter career people, they do not ask themselves very strong and critical questions. And that's why it's looking more like most career people consistently keep work the 9 to 5, and they are not exceptional when it comes to finances. They're not exceptional. They're nowhere to be reckoned with when it comes to finances. Then you see ordinary business people who are almost semi-illiterate, or even, I dare say, illiterate, earning the money. So now, the reason why I'm saying this is because I've seen one or two people in the Christendom who are not doing well for themselves. And when I say for themselves, it's not just about finances. It's also about relationship. It's also about how you deal with marriage. So it's a lot. Then we need to ask ourselves that critical question. So in strategic planning, truly, all these questions must come to play. And for business owners, like I said, you ask yourself, what business am I in? Articulate the business even more. And most importantly, ask yourself this question, am I just hustling? So you need to define your endeavor. This is very, very important. Another critical question that we need to ask ourselves is, where do I want to be in the future? Now, guess what? The future is now, because it is very not necessarily long term. I'm serious. The future is now. Now, you ask yourself again, how was your first half of 2026? Now, if you really did well with your first half of 2026, congratulations. But our God is a God who goes from glory to glory. So what that means is in your own space, you need to do better than where you were in the first half of 2026. So it is important. What are your revenue projections? These questions are what we should be asking ourselves. What opportunities can you leverage on? Now, one that comes to mind, and every time I say this, is the fact that Nigeria is a country of well over 200 million people. As a country, trust me, if you're not leveraging on the figures of the fact that we have this enormous people as a country to wanting to make exploit for yourself when it comes to your finances, then you're not even thinking of making exploits in your finances. So this is a conversation that we should be having. And trust me when I say this, some of the times, right, people tend to believe that, there is money in just one particular route of business. No. There are several routes and several business that one could do, legitimate business now. And I'm not talking fraudulent business. If you're into fraudulent business, better repent before they catch you. If they catch you on this station, we will read your news and we'll make sure we'll tell the word that you are the one they caught. Anyways, that's not what I'm saying. But I'm only saying that there are several businesses, legitimate businesses, that as God's people would need to do in order for us to be financially independent, not consistently asking for help when we're talking finances. Now, I'm not saying that asking for help when you have some financial difficulties is a problem. No, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that. I'm only saying that it is very, very important that at all times we carefully look at the fact that our finances are important to the driving of expanding the gospel. Now, let me give you an example. If you are wealthy and you get to church next week Sunday, or you don't even need to get to church next week Sunday, and maybe a fellow brethren or a fellow member of your church calls you on phone and say, please, I have this situation, I have this difficulty. Can you help me with 100,000 naira? Now, for the person to be able to call you, that person simply knows that there's a possibility that you can have that kind of amount. Now, if you don't have that kind of amount, that simply means that you are also somehow struggling with your finances. Now, do we need to be struggling with our finances? God did not create us to struggle with our finances. God created us to be champions. God created us to be the light of the world. God created us to be the salt of the earth. And that clearly simply means that we're supposed to be at the top of every single conversation. But what do you see these days? A lot of Christians are struggling. I mean, even Christian schools right now are being dominated by non-Christian who are able to pay for that particular school. So it's a large conversation that we need to start having with ourselves, right? But the most important part of this is the critical questions that we need to ask ourselves is what I've brought to us as, God's people. And again, like I said, you ask yourself, where do I want to be in the future? And I said earlier, the future is now. There's no better time to start than now. If you've not started, getting into business or having businesses aside your 9 to 5, and I dare say at this point, 9 to 5ers, you need to, at this point, really, really start thinking it very, very well. The future starts now. It is not necessarily a long-term thing, right? So you need to also assess, give yourself critical evaluation of your first half of the year and ask yourself if you really did good with your finances. And this is very critical because if you're not doing good with your finances, it only means that you need to do more work. Now, more work simply means you need to start putting your left to your right and start really, really, really getting your act right when it comes to working it out with the kind of business that you want to do. Now, I understand again that for some people, the kind of business that you want to do might need serious funding. Okay, I agree with you, but the education before the funding, do you have it? Your guess is as good as mine. You don't. You might think you have it, but you don't. Now, even when you don't have that money to start off that particular business, there are people who are in that business. Have you created a capacity to the point of having a relationship with them and wanting to learn from them? This is critical. This is important because you need to learn from the people who's gone ahead of you. Well, again, you might be someone who is starting off something. I also understand, yes, there are a lot of tech bros out there who have, started one or two things and are looking for major financiers to push them to the next level. Hey, question is, who and who have you met? What and what have you been told? The advent of social media is another beautiful thing that we need to consistently leverage on. So how much of leverage are you, jumping at? And this is a conversation and question that we should ask ourselves. Now, another major question that we need to ask ourselves majorly when it comes to strategic planning is, how do you intend to get to where you want to go? How do I grow my business? Now, here's another thing. For some people, it's a lot of stress that they don't want to get into. And that's why it's looking like they're comfortable at their comfort zone. Hey, in your comfort zone lies no growth. I'm sorry. In your comfort zone lies no growth. And when you do not grow, you become stagnant. Now, what stagnant water does is smell. The Bible does say you should be either hot or cold, so God would know how to deal with you. I'm just trying to paraphrase. That's a portion of the Bible. I'm trying to paraphrase it. Now, what I'm trying to say in essence is you have to be somewhere. You don't have to be stagnant. So the critical question you need to start asking yourself again is, how do I intend to get to where I want to be? I want to be an astronaut in another 2 years from now. Okay. Good ambition. But how do you intend getting there? For business owners, I want to be the owner of this particular conglomerate. Amazing. How do you grow that business? For some, we need to start reducing our costs and our spending costs, I dare say, by either 10% and then increase our revenue by 20%. That's for some business owners who start a business already. Now, for some people, here's another interesting part. Some people don't even know how to manage their business. And I dare say, managing the business is critical. So, for you as a business owner, to a certain level, you also need to reduce your cost by 10%, and most importantly, increase your revenue by 20%. Somehow, for some people, this is a strategy that works. And if it works for you, glory to God. But if it doesn't, one thing is certain. Do yourself a favor, switch gears, and do one thing that people would always do. Strategically redefine yourself. Because look, strategic planning provides you framework for understanding your place in not just the market, in your relationship, and of course in your career. Now, relationship extensively, I dare say, is also in the part of marriage as well. So it's not just the courting relationship. No, strategic planning, like I said, is a major provider of the framework that would help you understand your place in either the market as a business person or in your career as a career person, and also as a devoted person in relationship, marriage, or whatever. Right. Strategic planning also helps you to provide a sense of direction, purpose, and of course, urgency. So yeah, when you have strategic plans to doing something, it helps you plan very well. It helps you, lay up your targets and the time frame. And that, pressure is on you to want to do better. The urgency is on you to want to do better. The belief and directional purpose on you to wanting to do better. It's going to move from that particular spot. So yes, strategic planning clearly would help you do more on your growth as an individual and yes, as a God's person. And again, strategic planning increases your productivity by increasing your knowledge level. Trust me when I say this, when you plan strategically, one thing that you also uncover in planning is that you are much more knowledgeable in that area, whether business, whether relationship, whether career. You only would do one thing and one thing good, which is improve more in the knowledge of that particular thing that you are trying to improve on. So yes, the knowledge becomes vast. That's where I'm going. Yes, your knowledge becomes vast. But it's also important that it provides, strategic planning provides you the framework for producing results. Trust me, it helps you to produce results, whether bad results or good results. In fact, if it's bad results, it helps you even more, right? It helps you even more because on that path, you only will be seeing yourself as, yes, I need to do better to do it well. Do you understand? No one, I repeat, ever rewards effort. But they reward the entirety of growth. So do the math. When you try to do best with yourself, you see a lot of people come around you when you succeeded. That's why I said no one rewards effort. But a lot of people appreciate results that have shown success. So carefully, I dare say today, do yourself some good. Do more when it comes to strategic planning, and ask yourself those critical questions that were spoken about today. Now, I dare say, if you can, go watch again this particular video and do yourself that favor and ask yourself these questions. And trust me, when I say this, you will be doing much more progress with life and, of course, with God and your relationship. This is where we have to draw anchor on the amazing show today. I call it amazing because, trust me, when we talk about growth, it's an amazing time to talk about growth. And I am so excited because I know that we will be together, growing together. And I will say to you, I will see you at the top, because every day is a plus. Every day is a plus. And consistently do all you can to do better with yourself. This is where we have to draw anchor. And I want to say a big thank you to all of the guys that made the production possible today. From my director, Manfred, and of course, my index person. I don't know, my director is Manfred and Jerry, because I know they would want to come at me after now. And yes, to, of course, my index person, Lady A, the one, of course, who consistently do that at all times, give you all of those pictures and videos that you see. And to my very boss person, the Arsenal fan himself, Ike Chuku, thank you, gentlemen, for consistently doing what you do. And yes, to the sound person that made the sound possible, Apostle Paul, the only apostle without a church. I want to say thank you for always doing this with me. As we go, I want to say super congratulations to everyone celebrating, whatever be the celebration, congratulations to you. Don't forget, always pray for Nigeria. There is no great nation like ours. Have an amazing week ahead. David E. saying, do have a blast of a week, and always remember, God loves you, and so do we.
Welcome to the rhythm of heaven, where every voice, every soul, every sound comes together in harmony. This is Gospel Fusion. This is Gospel Fusion. From the streets to the steeple, from the young to the wise. With will every nation, with a sound that never dies. Hop together, never dies. Heartbeat of revival. Let the Spirit lead the way. Every reverend, every language, praising God in every way. This is Gospel Fusion.
In a world where truth is the ultimate power and opinions scream the loudest, it's time to wade through the noise.
Hunger no get tribe. Hunger no get religion.
And scan the human interest and trending topics that matter. Stay tuned to The Issues, your plug to the stories making the buzz, from politics to science and technology, social justice, and more. Let's tackle the tough questions and expose the truth. The Issues, on Voice of the People Television, Mondays to Fridays, 8 to 9 p.m. The Issues. Don't just react, understand. Join us as we drive into the world of politics through insightful interviews with prominent political figures, both serving and former governors, ministers, senators, legislators, party chieftains, activists, and analysts. Get first-hand information into the decision-making processes that affect our daily lives. Highly engaging one-hour program that brings political discourse into focus.
I am Chukwuma Okoro.
Political Lens, Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. Join us.
We encourage you to click on the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Voice of the People TV. Also follow us on all our social media platforms. We are at Voptv Live. Visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Also watch us live on SLTV channel 264. VOPTV, Voice of the People Television.
This is African News on Voice of the People Television, where we don't just bring you the news, we bring you Africa's heartbeat, the policies that shapes our world, and the economy that determines our future. African News on Voice of the People Television. Stay with us.
Welcome to the locker room, the home of football talk that matters. I am Jerry Ampelon. Join us every weekday, Monday to Friday at 5 p.m. Nigerian time, as we share the hot takes and hot debates in the exciting world of football. And joining me are the usual suspects, Ikechukwu and Mayowa, as we break down all the hot takes and everything that's happening in the football. Don't just watch football, live it with us. Catch us on the locker room and Voice of the People Television at 5 p.m. Nigerian time. And like I always say, if not 20 minutes off, with the sport.
And it's Hakim Ziyech who puts the
To know the happenings in the maritime sector, join us on the program Maritime Frontiers on Voptv as we discuss key areas in the maritime sector, from aquaculture, maritime transportation, maritime labor regulation, oil and gas exploration, ferry and passenger insurance, marine pollution and prevention, port operations, and lots more. Maritime Frontiers, exploring Nigeria's blue economy. The red carpets, awards, the razzmatazz, music, fashion, interviews, and more. Spotlight on Voice of the People Television. Let's feed you with all the juicy stories in the global entertainment space, bringing you the glitz and glamour as it is hot. Stay tuned to Spotlight, 1 p.m. Monday to Friday. Spotlight on Voptv. Entertainment like never before.
In a world where power shifts with every headlines, news breaks and events happens, we bring you unbiased and explicit information on politics, economy, and state of the nation. We break down the chaos. Facts, not fluff. Truth, not spin. We discuss not just politics, but a glimpse into the future. Voice of the People Television. Now you have more than a voice. In a world where power shifts with every headline.
In a nation full of questions.
In a world filled with noise, the truth needs a voice.
The policies that shapes our world, and the economy that determines our future.
Every hour, every day, the grapevine keeps buzzing. And together, we are committed to telling the stories that shape our world, because your voice is our focus.
Don't forget, our voice matters the most. Let us come together and share our concerns.
Africa is on the move, a continent of rising voices, untold stories, and powerful transformations. From the streets of Lagos to the heart of Nairobi, from the mines of Congo to the tech labs of Cape Town, the African story is being written every day. Bold, dynamic, unstoppable. This is African News on Voice of the People Television. We don't just bring you the news, we analyze and bring you Africa's heartbeat, the politics that shapes our nations, the economies that drives our future, the cultures that defines who we are, the voice that must be heard. Africa News, Africa's voice, Africa's future. Where Africa speaks, the world listens.
Ready for the extraordinary? Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing Voptv, now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We bring in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. Voptv on SLTV channel 264. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television, Voptv. Now you have more than a voice.
Nigerians, your voice matters, and in 2027 it starts with your permanent voters card, your PVC. If you're 18 and above and you're a Nigerian citizen, you have the right to choose who leads your community, your state, and your country. But that right only counts if you have your PVC and your name is on the voter register. Here's what to do. First, check if you're registered. If you're not, or if you've